When you constantly compare yourself to others, you begin to lose sight of your own unique journey. It's one of the most common habits that quietly destroys confidence and momentum. In life, everyone moves at a different pace, under different conditions, with different challenges and resources. Yet, many people fall into the trap of measuring their worth based on what others have accomplished: who bought a better car, who started a business faster, who achieved success earlier. The truth is, comparison blinds you from seeing the value of your own progress. You start doubting your own abilities, questioning your timing, and forcing yourself into paths that were never meant for you. Growth stops when your focus shifts from your own development to someone else's timeline. The moment you start thinking, "They're ahead of me," you stop running your own race and start running someone else's. The reality is, life is not a competition. It's a journey of self-mastery. Everyone you admire today had a phase when they were still figuring things out, struggling, making mistakes, and facing rejections. But they stayed focused on improving themselves, not on competing with others. When you compare, you only see the highlights of someone else's story, not the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, or the failures that built that success. Social media, in particular, has amplified this problem. It shows people's best moments, filtered, curated, and often exaggerated, making you feel like you're behind when in truth, you might be right on track. The more you look outward, the less time you spend looking inward, where real change and real growth happen. The key is to shift your mindset. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's the only fair competition you'll ever face. If you've learned something new today, handled a problem with more patience, or made even a small step toward your goals, that's progress. Success isn't about reaching a particular destination or being better than someone else. It's about being better than you were before. Every small improvement compounds over time, and that's where true growth happens. When you focus on your own path, you begin to notice your own pace, strengths, and lessons. You start building confidence from within instead of seeking validation from outside. Remember, comparison not only steals joy but also direction. You cannot follow someone else's map and expect to reach your own destination. Everyone's journey has its own rhythm, setbacks, and timing. Some people bloom early, others take longer, but both can reach greatness if they stay consistent. Your job isn't to be faster, richer, or more popular. Your job is to be authentic and committed to your personal evolution. The real reward isn't being seen as successful. It's becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to compare to feel fulfilled. When you stop competing with others, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure. You start creating instead of imitating. You start enjoying instead of envying. And most importantly, you begin to grow from a place of peace, not fear. Because in the end, growth doesn't come from comparison. It comes from self-awareness, discipline, and the courage to focus solely on your own journey. Every person wakes up each morning with a finite amount of energy, mental, emotional, and physical. Yet, many people waste this valuable fuel worrying about others, chasing approval, or engaging in distractions that don't contribute to their purpose. Energy is like currency. How you spend it determines the quality of your life. If you spend your energy gossiping, doubting yourself, or overanalyzing others' success, you'll end the day exhausted but with nothing meaningful to show for it. On the other hand, if you direct that same energy toward building your vision, learning something new, or developing emotional resilience, you'll feel fulfilled and move closer to your goals. Success doesn't always belong to the most talented. It belongs to those who know how to channel their energy into the right places. Your energy defines your focus, and your focus defines your outcome. Think of your energy like the battery of a smartphone. When you open too many unnecessary apps, social media, comparison, jealousy, gossip, your battery drains quickly. You don't even notice it until it's gone. The same happens with your mind. Every time you think about what others are doing, you're leaving less power for your own growth. The greatest mistake most people make is believing they can waste their energy on negativity and still have enough left to chase their dreams. Life doesn't work that way. The people who rise in life learn early that their energy is sacred. They don't give it to every opinion, every argument, or every distraction. Instead, they guard it like treasure. They spend it only on what moves them forward, on learning, creating, and improving themselves. When you learn to invest your energy wisely, your life transforms. You begin to notice what truly matters. You start saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that build you. You understand that every conversation, every choice, and every thought is either adding to your growth or taking away from it. Discipline becomes less about forcing yourself to work hard and more about protecting your energy from waste. You stop trying to impress people who will never understand your vision. You stop seeking validation because you realize that the most powerful form of energy is self-belief. Once you commit to spending your energy on improvement instead of insecurity, you become unstoppable. Energy invested in yourself compounds over time. The more you focus on developing your skills, health, and mindset, the more powerful you become. When you read a book, exercise, or meditate, you're not just using energy, you're multiplying it. That's why people who focus inward often appear calm yet powerful. They're not rushing to prove anything. They're busy creating something. They understand that success isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right things consistently. Just like a laser becomes powerful when focused on a single point, your life becomes extraordinary when your energy is directed toward a clear purpose. In the end, the people who achieve the most aren't the ones who had unlimited energy. They're the ones who managed it wisely. They knew when to rest, when to act, and when to walk away from noise. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So stop scattering your energy across meaningless battles. Channel it into building something that makes you proud. Your dreams deserve your full attention, your highest energy, and your best self. Protect it, invest it, and watch how your life changes when your focus turns inward. Every morning, when you look in the mirror, you meet the one person truly responsible for your future, yourself. That reflection holds the truth that many people spend their entire lives avoiding. It doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, and it doesn't pretend. It shows you exactly who you are, what you become, and what still needs work. Yet, most people are too busy looking at others, comparing achievements, appearances, or lifestyles, to pause and learn from the only person who truly matters in their journey. The mirror is your greatest teacher because it reminds you that accountability begins and ends with you. It's easy to blame circumstances, people, or luck for where you are, but the mirror doesn't accept excuses. It silently asks one powerful question: what are you doing to become better than the person you were yesterday? Growth starts when you stop running from your own reflection. Every flaw, every weakness, every limitation you see isn't a reason for shame. It's an invitation to improve. The mirror doesn't judge, it reveals. It tells you the truth that others may soften with kindness or avoid out of politeness. It shows whether you've been consistent, disciplined, and honest with yourself. If you truly want progress, you must be willing to face that reflection and own it, not just on your best days, but especially on the days when you fall short. Most people look at the mirror only to check how they appear to others, not to confront how they appear to themselves. But self-awareness is the foundation of all success. When you begin to see the mirror as a coach, not a critic, you start unlocking the mindset needed to grow beyond your limits. The idea of being 1% better every day might sound small, but it's powerful. A 1% daily improvement compounds into massive transformation over time. It's not about overnight change, it's about quiet, consistent progress. The mirror helps you measure that progress honestly. Yesterday, you might have procrastinated. Today, you took action. Yesterday, you might have reacted with anger. Today, you showed patience. These are not grand gestures, but they are meaningful steps. The mirror reflects the accumulation of those choices. You don't need to impress the world, you need to impress that person staring back at you. Because when that person changes, when their mindset, habits, and beliefs evolve, everything else in life follows. Your reflection is also your reminder of ownership. No one else can train for you, think for you, or build your dreams for you. The world will always have opinions, but only the mirror shows results. It keeps you grounded, reminding you that authenticity matters more than approval. Every scar, every wrinkle, every tired eye tells a story of effort, resilience, and lessons learned. That reflection is not your enemy, it's your history and your potential combined. When you look at it with honesty and compassion, you stop chasing perfection and start pursuing growth. So, the next time you stand before a mirror, don't just fix your appearance. Fix your mindset. Ask yourself, did I honor my goals today? Did I respect my time? Did I stay true to my values? That conversation between you and your reflection is where real success begins. Because the mirror doesn't care about what others think of you. It only cares about who you truly are. And when you make peace with that person, when you commit to improving just a little each day, you'll find that no competitor, no obstacle, and no opinion can ever stop you. The mirror will keep teaching quietly, truthfully, and relentlessly, as long as you're willing to look and learn. In a world overflowing with noise, distractions have become the silent destroyers of dreams. Every day our minds are bombarded with messages, notifications, opinions, and trends pulling us in 1,000 directions. We live in an age where attention has become the most valuable currency, yet most people give it away freely. To social media, gossip, entertainment, or the endless scrolling that numbs the mind and feeds nothing to the soul. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. You cannot move forward if your focus is constantly hijacked by the world around you. Distractions may feel harmless, but they slowly drain your ability to think deeply, act consistently, and pursue your purpose with clarity. You cannot create direction while living in a storm of noise. And yet, this is exactly what most people try to do. Chasing one goal today, another tomorrow, never realizing that the lack of focus is what's keeping them stuck. Direction in life is like a compass. It needs stillness to work. If your mind is constantly spinning with external noise, you'll never be able to hear your inner guidance. The problem is, we've become addicted to stimulation. Every ping of a phone, every new trend, every opinion online pulls us further from our goals. We check what others are doing instead of asking what we should be doing. We get distracted by temporary excitement and lose sight of long-term fulfillment. But here's the truth: every great achievement in history was born from deep focus. No one built anything meaningful while constantly being interrupted. Whether it's an artist painting a masterpiece, a leader shaping a vision, or an inventor creating change, they all mastered the art of shutting out the noise to listen to their own direction. When you eliminate distractions, you regain control of your time and energy, the two resources that define your future. The world rewards those who can focus deeply because focus leads to mastery, and mastery leads to freedom. Think about it: most people aren't failing because they're incapable, they're failing because they're distracted. They start a project, lose interest, scroll for hours, compare themselves to others, and then wonder why progress feels impossible. Distraction disguises itself as harmless curiosity, but it steals the one thing you can never get back: time. Every minute spent on something meaningless is a minute taken away from your growth. And over time, these moments add up to years of lost potential. True direction demands discipline. It's not about cutting out everything fun or isolating yourself. It's about creating boundaries that protect your focus. It's about recognizing that every yes to distraction is a no to progress. When you learn to say no to things that do not serve your purpose, you gain the power to say yes to the things that truly matter. Silence the noise around you long enough, and you'll begin to hear the voice within. The one that tells you where to go, what to build, and who to become. That voice has always been there, but distractions drown it out. So choose focus over noise. Choose clarity over chaos. Turn off the things that steal your attention and turn inward toward the things that give you direction. Because in the end, the people who win are not those who do the most, but those who stay committed to what matters most. Your direction defines your destiny, and distractions are its greatest threat. Guard your focus like treasure, because it's the foundation of every great success story. In a world where everyone feels the need to show their success, announce their goals, and prove their worth, the idea of silent progress has become rare, yet it remains one of the most powerful forms of growth. True progress doesn't need an audience, it needs commitment. The loudest person in the room isn't always the one improving. Often, it's the quiet one who's too busy working on themselves to seek validation. Real growth happens behind closed doors, in those unseen hours of effort, discipline, and learning. It's when you're staying up late to improve your craft, waking up early to plan your day, or choosing consistency over comfort. No applause, no spotlight, no recognition, just quiet dedication. The world may not notice immediately, but that's the beauty of it. Silent progress builds strength in the shadows, so when the time comes to step into the light, you're prepared, refined, and unshakable. The problem today is that many people mistake visibility for progress. Social media has created a culture where everyone wants to look successful before they've even built something real. They want to be seen working, not necessarily do the work. But the truth is, the more you talk about your plans, the less energy you have to execute them. Silence keeps your focus pure. It keeps your drive internal. When you're not performing for others' approval, your motivation becomes genuine. You stop working for validation and start working for mastery. That's when your progress becomes real, because it's no longer dependent on being seen. Every great creator, thinker, and builder understood this. The foundation of greatness is built in silence. What people eventually see, the achievement, the success, the transformation, is only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it are countless hours of invisible effort that no one clapped for. Silent progress also protects your energy. When you constantly share your goals or show every move you make, you invite noise, opinions, doubts, distractions, and sometimes envy. That energy can cloud your focus. But when you keep your goals to yourself, you maintain clarity. You become grounded, calm, and unbothered. You don't need to explain or defend your path because you know where you're going. You don't need to prove your worth because your results will eventually speak louder than any announcement ever could. Silence doesn't mean hiding. It means protecting the sacred space where growth happens. It's a decision to prioritize action over attention. Silent progress also builds character. When no one is watching, you discover who you truly are. You learn whether your drive comes from within or from the applause. You learn patience, to keep working even when the results are slow, to keep believing even when no one notices. This kind of growth is deep and unshakable because it's built on inner strength, not external validation. And when your success finally becomes visible, it's not a coincidence, it's proof of everything you've done quietly. People will call it overnight success, but you'll know it was years in the making. So don't be afraid of being unnoticed while you're growing. Don't rush to prove anything to anyone. Stay focused, stay consistent, and let your silence work for you. Because the strongest trees don't make noise when they grow, they just stand tall when the time comes. In the same way, your progress doesn't need to shout, it just needs to keep moving forward. Eventually, your results will make the noise for you. The greatest wealth you can ever build isn't in money, property, or possessions, it's in yourself. Too often, people chase external success while neglecting the one foundation that makes all success possible: personal growth. You can lose a business, face setbacks, or watch opportunities disappear, but if you've invested in yourself, your skills, your mindset, your health, and your self-awareness, you can rebuild everything from nothing. That's what makes self-investment the most powerful and reliable form of wealth. It compounds over time, it cannot be stolen, and it continues to pay dividends for the rest of your life. When you invest in yourself, you're not just improving your circumstances, you're expanding your capacity to create, lead, and adapt. Everything you want, success, happiness, freedom, begins with who you are becoming. Many people misunderstand investment. They think it's only about putting money into things that grow. But the most valuable growth happens internally. Investing in your mindset means feeding your mind with new ideas, knowledge, and perspectives that help you see beyond your limitations. It means reading, learning, questioning, and surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to think bigger. Knowledge gives you confidence, mindset gives you direction. You can give two people the same opportunity, one with a weak mindset and one with a strong one, and they will produce completely different results. The one who has invested in their inner world will always find a way to succeed because they understand that external success mirrors internal strength. Health is another vital form of self-investment. What good is wealth if your body and mind are too exhausted to enjoy it? Your energy is the fuel that drives every dream you have. Taking care of your health through rest, exercise, and balance isn't a luxury, it's a strategy. A clear mind and a strong body allow you to perform at your best, make better decisions, and stay resilient when challenges arise. People often say they don't have time to take care of themselves, but the truth is, not taking care of yourself costs you far more time in the long run, through burnout, stress, and poor performance. When you invest in your health, you're protecting your ability to show up for your goals every single day. Self-awareness is another powerful investment that multiplies every area of life. The more you understand yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, values, and emotions, the more effective your decisions become. You stop chasing what looks good to others and start pursuing what's truly meaningful to you. You become less reactive and more intentional. That's when life starts to align, because you're no longer driven by impulse or comparison, but by clarity. Investing in self-awareness means taking time to reflect, journal, meditate, or simply be honest with yourself about what's working and what's not. It's about asking tough questions and being courageous enough to face the answers. In the long run, every external success will fade if it's not backed by internal strength. Money, positions, and recognition can disappear, but the skills, discipline, and wisdom you develop within yourself will always remain. The person you become determines the life you create. So spend time and energy on what strengthens you, learning new things, building emotional intelligence, developing habits that make you sharper, calmer, and wiser. Every hour you dedicate to self-growth is an investment that compounds in ways you can't yet see. Remember, the best investment never comes from luck, it comes from intention. You are the most valuable asset you will ever own. When you nurture that asset through learning, health, discipline, and awareness, you create a life that no one can take away from you. The market may crash, opportunities may fade, but your value will only rise. Because when you bet on yourself, you never truly lose. You only grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of turning every challenge into a new beginning.